it's been a distinction of about 6 years between the first Frozen and Frozen 2. With regards to talking about that, well, your daughters, and your daughter was 5 at the time, and then now realizing that they're much older, does that change the music writing process when you're surrounded by somebody who might have been part of the inspiration for the first film? Now they're older, and now they've experienced certain things. You've experienced certain things in the course of watching how Frozen became the phenomenon that it is. Did that impact the writing for Frozen 2?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like, as Kristen often says, when your kids are little, you're the CEO of their company. And then when they start to become teenagers, you become more of a consultant.
Yeah.
And your job is to make sure that they're running on their own and that they can handle life without you. And that's...
I would say there would not be a song called Show Yourself in the first one. I, as a mother, I was a helicopter mom for sure. When I started Frozen 1, I was definitely the person who was like, I thought my job was to be like, okay, be careful on that slide. Don't stand up on that. I was definitely always in the don't. Be careful. Remember, wear a hat. I still say wear a hat, but now I know that my job is to say, show yourself. Listen to your gut. Take all of those lullabies we sang about believing in yourself and being kind and being careful. Take all that stuff and now go out and show yourself what you can do, because that is where you find happiness. That is where you find your place in the world. And that's also when you find that place in the world, only then, at least in my experience, only then is also where you find your partners too. The families you're gonna make.
Yeah.
When you're busy.
No. Sorry, did I just say that?
That's so funny. I love that you talked about earlier about story and being able to build upon a story in order to write the songs. How much of your own personal story would you say is incorporated in every song that you do?
It's always disguised. I mean, it's always about the story we're telling and trying to be specific to Anna and Elsa or whoever we're writing about, Miguel. But there's always an element. Otherwise, we wouldn't start to write the song. There's always something that that resonates. Like with "Remember Me," the song we wrote for Coco, we, like Kristen was saying, sing lullabies to the kids all the time. Some of them are lullabies we make up, and we have
For years, I did an original lullaby about a fuzzy little kitten every single night.
Different stories.
Different stories every
cool.
night. Some of them were very nonlinear.
But and we would have to leave. We'd have to go to the West Coast a lot to do our work, much like the character in Coco. So that was our way in. I mean, it was a 1-to-1 really with that one. It felt very much like a song we could have written for our girls, and but of course it's not exactly that. It's it's for the story, and we're able to hide behind that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story of that particular one. We had a piano in our kitchen because we lived in Brooklyn in sort of a loft where everything was all in
together.
One room. And I was sort of making breakfast, and Bobby was in his boxers, and I think the kids were around, and he was noodling on the piano, and he found that beautiful do 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 do, and he was playing it, and it just came out, the perfect 32 bar melody.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it that way.
And I said, "Can you play that into my phone?" And then took my phone. I had to go into Midtown for a rehearsal for an a cappella musical I was working on, and I had a yellow pad, and I just listened to that melody and wrote exactly what he just said. I wrote, how do I feel when I have to leave these little girls behind in New York, and I have to go to LA to go work on my career. I leave these lullabies behind so that when the babysitter sings them, they feel connected to me. And so I just poured that into the melody, and then "Remember Me" was done. And it was all written on the F train.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Even you doing like the little musical part, I was like getting a little sentimental. It's like, Mama Coco. we talk about the need for changing the narrative, right? About making it seem as though it's not necessarily a prince love that you have to pursue, that it can be about familial love and the love between siblings. Would you say that Elsa and the characters that you write songs for, are they now part of the Lopez family?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were to begin with. But I do believe that everyone has an Elsa and an Anna in them, and that they're really best when they're balanced. When you have the part of you that is, if you think of Anna as the nurturer, as the person who's all about relational loving, but then also Elsa as the part of you that owns your fears and owns your superpower, owns your strengths and your weaknesses. When you get all of that in balance, then you as a human are together. So I think Elsa and Anna are part of everyone. However, there's a lot of Elsa and Anna specific merch in our life.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
We've got Elsa and Anna chopsticks.
I mean, there's the side of us that just grew up as American consumer kids that just bought Star Wars figures and stuff like that. That's just delighted to go out and
The
buy.
side of you. The
side of me.
you.
You know, I mean, any doll that you can pull a string and it sings your song. I mean, come on, you gotta get that.
Like just sitting with that. Like, how long is it? Have you reached the point where you can sit with that, knowing that you changed literally the cultural zeitgeist with a song, a movie, and your heart and what you put into the work that you do? So many people will forever sing that song and will know that song and know the lyrics to that song.
I find that thinking about that isn't very productive to our happiness. Like I once heard Oprah talk about Maya Angelou told Oprah, "Don't think about your legacy. Let other people let that happen. Just move forward."
But what's nice about it is thinking about the side of it that was like, we had something to give to the world maybe, and that people actually got the message. And that's one of the great reasons to work with Disney Animation. And whenever they call, you should probably say yes.
Yeah.
Just a word to the wise, because they're first of all, the artists there are so talented. It's just a place that's brimming with all this talent, and people think of it as it's a corporation, but it really is a building full of these artists who are all interesting and personal and wonderful, and they're all rowing together making one story, and it's because of that the place has the reach that it has the ability to make the impact that it does.